Tonight on Texas News PrimeTime. Remembering UTPD Chief David Carter.
Strife continues at the border.
And a look at UT's famous Carillon bells.
You're watching Texas News PrimeTime.
News made for Longhorns. Good evening and welcome to Texas News PrimeTime. For Monday, April 25th, I'm Josh Fowler.
And I'm Alexa Sherry. Thank you for joining us tonight.
UTPD Chief David Carter died at the age of 64 on April 22nd after a long battle with cancer. Carter had served as chief of police since 2013 and had been in law enforcement for 38 years. He graduated from Texas A&M, where he then began working in law enforcement in Bryan, Texas, before joining the Austin Police Department in 1985. From there, he worked his way up to chief of staff for the UTPD Police Department. His friends and family referred to him as a great friend and mentor with steadfast dedication and integrity. Carter will be missed by the Austin and Longhorn community.
An act of heroism by a National Guard member resulted in tragedy this past weekend. 22-year-old Specialist Bishop Evans jumped into a river near Eagle Pass, a section that is known to have strong currents, after he noticed what appeared to be two migrants drowning. Maverick County Sheriff Tom Schmerber stated how, quote, he jumped in the river, they never saw him come out, quote, today. Evans' body was found near the Mexican side of the Rio Grande.
On April 6th, Governor Greg Abbott ordered state troopers to inspect commercial trucks as they crossed the border. The move led to a massive line of trucks waiting to be inspected. The inspections ultimately found no drugs or migrants and were estimated to cost the state $400 million per day. The troopers could only inspect the trucks, tires, brakes, and lights. The troopers had no authority to open or inspect the inside of trucks. Those inspections are instead carried out by Customs and Border Protection and state and federal agricultural agencies.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit on Friday to prevent the Biden administration from lifting Title 42. Since its enactment in March of 2020, Title 42 has been used 1.7 million times to expel migrants. Title 42 is under the responsibility of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and is a public health order at its heart. Paxton's lawsuit argues that the Biden administration did not follow the correct procedure to end Title 42. Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra said, quote, health orders are not immigration policies. You can't use the cover of health to try to deal with migration.
Some Texas Republicans are calling for Governor Greg Abbott to declare an invasion of migrants, to give legal standing for state personnel to deport migrants. This comes after Abbott halted increased inspections of commercial vehicles along the Texas-Mexico border. At a law enforcement roundtable last Thursday, the governor said the following.
So this is something that I began studying back when I was the Attorney General of Texas, something that I've continued to study. And there are some issues that we're looking at that we've been provided no answer on. The operation as it would work is to put these people and deport them immediately. These are people who already have papers to roam freely in the United States. As soon as we drop them off across the border, they would just come right back across the border. And so all we would be doing is creating a revolving door. If we do use this strategy, it could expose law enforcement in the state of Texas to being prosecuted.
Jeffrey Hoffman, the director of the University of Houston Immigration Clinic, says the invasion claim would be difficult to defend in court and, quote, not lawful. It's political theater, end quote.
Last Friday, bombshell recordings of GOP House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy speaking following the January 6th insurrection were released to the public. In the recording, McCarthy talks with Representative Liz Cheney about how to address the issue of the former president, who at the time was widely regarded as being complicit in the attack by members on both sides of the aisle, though many Republicans have since backed off that position. Take a listen.
The only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation we should do that. That would be my take, but I don't think he would take it. But I don't know.
To a study from the Carillon School of Engineering, Texas is capable of eliminating its carbon pollution in less than 30 years, and would actually stand to benefit economically from doing so. In the report titled "Don't Mess with Texas: Getting the Lone Star State to Net Zero by 2050," researchers point out that markets are shifting away from fossil fuels. This could spell bad news for Texas, which heavily depends on oil and gas industries. 4 different approaches are outlined in the report, which study based on electric demand, the cheapest carbon neutral way to meet this demand, and regional economic forecasts. Surprisingly, all 4 approaches generated greater economic productivity than continuing on the current trajectory.
The idea of a close planet having water is promising, and an area that has garnered much research. However, previous estimates of the amount of water that could be found on Mars appear to be inaccurate by several orders of magnitude for what the planet could have accommodated. According to researchers from the Odin Institute and the Jackson School of Geosciences at UT, previous models of the planet's groundwater relied on a more straightforward coordinate mapping system. While more mathematically complex, the researchers found that using analysis based on spherical mapping produced more elegant models.
The UT Tower is as iconic as the bells that reside within it. Many think the bells, or the Carillon as it is officially called, is automated. Although this is true for some things like the hour chimes, this is not always the case. Let's take a look as I bring you up to floor 27 of the tower. Walking from class to class, we've all heard the bells ringing to mark the time. And if you've been lucky, you may have heard songs you recognize. But did you know that many of the songs you hear on the tower bells are actually played by students? To find out more, I spoke with members in the Guild of Carillonneurs.
It feels very cool, first of all, to be able to go up there and play such a public instrument, but at the same time, you're like a recluse. You're not seen by your audience. So, you know, having both of those extremes at the same time is rather titillating.
So the ways the carillon is similar to a piano is that the wooden batons are laid out just like a piano key. So on the top, you have the black keys, if you will, and on the bottom, you have the white keys. The carillon actually has all of the pitches on the bottom that are in the lower half of the carillon. These pedals actually make pitches, so it's in that way it's more similar to an organ.
My favorite part about being in the guild is being able to interact with everyone. Usually whenever I play a song, it's like a song that I guess people already know. I don't really play very much like carillon specific music. It's mostly songs that people have heard before. So it's always fun whenever people like talk about hearing their favorite song on the bells.
If you want to request songs to be played on the Carillon, you can find them on Instagram with the tag Texas Carillon. For Texas News Primetime, I'm Josh Fowler.
Affordable housing is coming to East Campus for graduate students at UT Austin. Recently, the university broke ground at 21st Street between Kamal and Leona Street. The multi-story building is set to include 784 beds in studio, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartment units. The building is set to feature public courtyards, an outdoor classroom, an amphitheater, a fitness center, plenty of private and group study spaces, and a flexible multi-purpose room for graduate students and community events. The building at the moment is scheduled for completion for the fall 2024 semester.
Coming up, Stephanie Molina will be bringing you up to date on the world of business. So stay tuned. We'll catch you right after this break.
Welcome back to Texas News Primetime. I'm Stephanie Molina with your business update. Last Friday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell nearly 1,000 points, marking the worst day for the Dow since 2020. This comes amid Chair of the U.S. Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, signaling possibility of further interest rate increasing to combat rising inflation across the country. Earlier today, Twitter announced that it will be acquired by PayPal billionaire Elon Musk for $44 billion. The move comes as a reversal from the poison pill Twitter previously adopted to prevent Musk from acquiring the company. Twitter began to change its tune after Musk announced that he has sufficient funds to purchase the company. In the announcement, Musk stated, "Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is a digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated." Musk said that he aims to improve Twitter by adding new features, open sourcing the platform's algorithms, which he claims will increase trust and transparency, and removing bots from the platform. While some are excited by Twitter's new ownership and Musk's promises of what's to come, others have expressed concern that such a critical platform to political discourse will now be in the hands of a single individual who may shape it however he sees fit. Look out, Central Texas, there is a new farmer in town. Grover the robot, created by Iron Ox, is a piece of technology to aid crop production with precision. According to the company CEO Brandon Alexander, the idea of using these technologies to make better food more available to more people was the obvious answer. Iron Ox's newest facility is open in Lockhart, where this special tech is helping crops grow. Grover can lift more than 1,000 pounds and assist in monitoring, watering, and harvesting a wide variety of crops from leafy greens to strawberries, according to the company. Alexander says that this technology will help to minimize the amount of land, water, and energy needed to nourish a growing population. Now over to Alexa Sherry for your weather update.
Thank you, Stephanie. It sure has been rainy today. I hope you Longhorns did not forget your umbrellas. Let's get right into this week's weather. Tonight, we will be seeing cloudy skies with showers with a low of 58 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we will see early rain showers with overcast skies later in the day with a high of 76 degrees and a low of 60 degrees with partial clouds and light winds. Wednesday's temperature will see cloudy skies in the morning and become partially cloudy later in the day with a high of 81 and a low of 65. Thursday will also see cloudy skies with a high of 86 and a low of 69. Friday, there will be scattered showers with a high of 88 degrees and a low thunderstorms with a high of 89 degrees and a low of 70. And finally, for Sunday's weather, we will see cloudy skies early in the morning with a high of 88 and a low of 70. That's all from me at the Weather Center. Up next is sports. I'm Alexa Sherry. And joining us tonight from TSTV Sports is Clark Dalton. Welcome on, Clark.
It's good to be back. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for this school year to be over. So let's end it with some Texas football. After their fourth 5-7 season since 2009, Texas reloaded with a slew of transfers and new recruits. These new players wanted to prove they could renew Longhorn spirit and bring the ailing program back. Let's head to DKR for the highlights. And hey, there's that one guy in The Wolf of Wall Street, Matthew McConaughey, Vince Young. He won a national championship years ago too, but let's get to business. Hudson Card early on zips it to Xavier Worthy for the first down, and this is who everybody's interested in, the all-world quarterback, Quinn Ewers. This is just a freshman throwing a 55-yard pass. It is caught by Isaiah Nair, who finishes with a 62-yard touchdown. He's from Wyoming, another transfer portal player for Steve Sarkisian. He's happy with that one. Then Roschon Johnson. He's rumbling, but he's not stumbling on this one, as he's going to take it all the way to the house for a 55-yard touchdown. And he's the second running back on the team. That's pretty impressive if that's the depth at that position. And Hudson Card, trying to prove he does deserve the starting job, going to scamper into the end zone here for a touchdown run. Impressive there. Quinn Ewers dropping back, looking, goes to Xavier Worthy again, the man himself, scoring a touchdown. He scored 12 last season, which was a record for a freshman. And he's happy with the touchdown, and that is a wrap. And there wasn't a score because the spring game was kind of different this year because Sark wanted to do a 100-play scrimmage, so that's why I didn't say it, just to clarify.
Right, and so Clark, for the past 12 years, football fans have cried for the return of glory days, but after 4 head coaches and countless underwhelming seasons, it's hard not to lose hope. Is there any chance you think Texas can bounce back?
Alexa, I know over the years I've literally hit this desk over Texas football. I said, why aren't they better? But I do believe that this team can turn it around at a certain point. And one thing that was cool in the press conference that Sark talked about after the game was he said, someone inside the program said, it's starting to feel like family. I feel like these guys are my brothers now. And I think that's huge because the problem over the past 12 years, it's not been the acquisition of talent. There have been a lot of talented players that have come through here, but a disconnect on all levels of the program. It doesn't really feel like a family. And I know it's cliche, but all good teams, they're a family. They do do everything together. They fight for each other. And when you're connected like that, you're willing to stick your neck out and do just a little bit more. And I think it's one of those things, if Texas takes this lesson this year and start to build that family atmosphere again, that's really when the program will start to get back on the track they're supposed to be on.
Clark, I'm very happy to see your growing optimism for the Longhorn sports program. I know it's been rocky for you, but thank you so much for coming on, Clark. As always, a pleasure. Up next is entertainment with Madison King. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Texas News Primetime. I'm Josh Fowler. Here to bring us up to date on the current happenings in the entertainment world is Madison King. Welcome on, Madison.
Cool. Hi, Josh. Thanks for having me.
So, I think the big thing that's been happening in entertainment news this past week has been, of course, the Depp Heard trial.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while now. I've been hearing about it. So I was hearing that Heard Johnny Depp was suing Heard for about $50 million for a 2018 op-ed he wrote. She wrote about him for the Washington Post. I believe she didn't name him by name, but it was defamation. But yeah, I believe the couple was married from 2015 to 2017, with Heard obtaining a temporary restraining order against Depp, claiming Depp abused her while under the influence of alcohol and drugs. I believe he later denied this accusation and reached a $7 million settlement. The couple back then, they agreed and kind of fizzled out with their public feud. But in 2018, we heard that's whenever Heard published her op-ed in the Washington Post discussing domestic abuse against women. And then in 2019, Depp opened the case up to about $50 million defamation, claiming it costed lucrative acting work, I believe. It was for
Pirates of the Caribbean, and the other main one was
the Harry Potter,
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
I've totally seen it.
Yeah.
But now in April 2020, Depp brought the Heard to the court in Virginia. Depp has not only proven that he has proved that he's not only wasn't abusive, but also Heard was abusive towards him. This past week, Depp took the stand mentioning the past accusations Depp had against Heard. They played a few audio clips. He goes on to say she was the aggressor. She severed his finger with a vodka bottle. He also mentioned that Heard or one of her friends defecated in their bed after he ended a relationship with her in 2016. There's also a video from TMZ from 2016 of Heard smashing cabinets in his home and yelling at Heard. But they talked a lot about his abusive relationship his abuse he suffered in his childhood from his mother. His sister even took the stand as well. So it's been a really long trial going on.
Seems very messy too. There's lots of things going on. It's hard to figure out where the facts are,
It's supposed to be going on for 6 weeks and it's really been live streamed the whole time for this, but I feel it's very weird because it is so public, and I guess I'm very torn on the idea of having this relationship so public and open to everyone, open to interpretation, and also talking about, is it bringing light to men's abusive relationships? Is this good? Is this bad for, the public? I guess I do think it's really good that they're bringing this light, but again, I'm just I don't feel like we should know so much about the relationship.
I personally think that it's good to bring to light that men can be abused too, and if you need help, there's resources out there to get help. But yeah, having so much of the back and forth public and the spotlight can be, it's very aggressive sometimes. So I do think it's been in the news cycle for quite a while.
Yeah, I feel it's been going on for a couple of years, and I feel it's very interesting to see, again, Depp, of course, he has always been a public figure for so long, but of course, I think it's very interesting to see, such a public figure and such a well-known, beloved actor still face abuse, much like anyone else could. But I don't know, I feel very torn on it, but...
So, on to lighter news. Coachella was the second week of Coachella was this weekend, right?
Yeah, it's the first one that's happened since 2019. They canceled the last year. They kept saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have one this year," and then they'd cancel it every year. It's expected that 750,000 people were able to attend the festival during these 2 weeks. The cheapest 3-day ticket you can purchase was only $495. Meanwhile, their most expensive ticket was for you and your 3 close friends, VIP, about $6,000. The event was headlined by some iconic modern day figures. I wasn't really seeing any older ones. There was like Harry Styles, Billie Eilish, Phoebe Bridgers, The Weeknd, and Doja Cat. Those ones seemed to have a really good time. I didn't really hear anything going too bad, too south. I didn't hear about any injuries, any deaths, or anything like that. But there were a few performers that were pretty upset, like 100 Gex. They were cut off from their show. Their equipment was taken off mid-show. Performers like Joji, he was sick during the time. He didn't want to go on to perform because he was so badly sick, but Coachella forced him to go on anyways. And they later just like didn't even stream his performance. They were taking it down everywhere, so he kind of performed for no reason. Personally, I was trying to figure out if I would want to go even to this festival. I was always kind of anti-Coachella because I'm just like, it's a bunch of celebrities going. It's in the dust. You have to camp out for like 3 days. So I looked at the lineup to see how much I would actually like it. I was pretty shocked as someone that considers himself pretty indie. I really liked their lineup of King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard and Mule and the Snifflers, who I'm seeing tomorrow. We also have like Code Orange. We have, what was it? There's a bunch of them. There was a lot going on that I really enjoyed. And I kind of wish I could go in some way.
You know, I think the artists that like spoke to me were definitely Kim Petras, and then a French artist named Stromae. He's very popular in France, and I like his music. And then also, of course, Carly Rae Jepsen. So yeah, I don't know if I would go. I don't know if I'd travel out there for that, because it's a lot to deal with and a lot of money. But if I was there and someone gave me a free ticket, I would definitely check it out.
Yeah, me and my roommate are actually talking about it because we went to ACL before, and we're like, it was okay, but I feel like Coachella, they actually add so much more to the actual performances, and like, it is more of a show. So I feel like double the price, but you get such shows. I think it is a little bit, it's worth it if you're in the area, but if you have to travel, pay thousands of dollars, maybe not. But yeah, other thing I got to go to this weekend was the Austin Ren Fair. It was located in McCade, Texas, about 40 minutes out. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. It's been going on since March, so it's been about 2 months. I got the chance to do a lot of fun things. There's like hundreds of entertainers, shows, vendors you can go see, and tickets only cost $30 to get in. So you have the chance to see all these shows all day long from like 9 a.m. to like dusk, and you get so much to do, so much to see. Personally, I've never really been into Ren Fairs that much, but have you been?
I think the main thing that I would have been interested in would be glass blowing, because I just like the art form. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for entertainment. Thank you for coming on. This has been great to hear like the current happenings. So thanks, Madison, for coming on. And as always, we thank you for tuning in. You can follow us on Twitter, and be sure to check out our Instagram, TSTV News. Now, tonight is our senior show, which means that all the anchors you've seen tonight are graduating seniors. So if I could have all the seniors come over here, and for those that did bring our caps, we can put them on. So with the time we have left, does anyone want to say anything about their experience at UT and what they're planning to do after they graduate?
Well, I'm still figuring it out, but I did enjoy my time at UT. It was very fun, and being a part of the journalism program and TSTV was very fun.
I also had such a fulfilling time here at UT. I love being so involved with Moody. I'm a journalism and advertising major, and I've loved every second of it. Love TSTV, and next year I'm working at PayPal on their newsroom, so I'm really excited.
That is very exciting. Awesome. All I can say is that the path hasn't always been what I thought it would be, but I think in the end I wouldn't change a thing for the world. It's been a very great experience. So, signing off for the last time, I'm Josh Fowler. Thanks for starting your week with us, and now, go out and change your world.